G'day, welcome to Mark and Sam After Work. Today I've got a new product video for our bipod system. For those that do know our bipod system, I will not go through the other details. I'll just introduce the product. For those that don't know about it, stay tuned. I'll go through the rest of it later in the video. This is the new product. It is basically it's the front bush for our bipod system. It runs a clamp. As I said, I'll go through that. That's to accept the clamp, to be able to accept the bipod legs. And this one is designed to go straight onto a half chassis. So we have our component C, which does the sort of the same job. There's more component, there's more weight, there's flexibility, there's all things that are in that, but that is made to go onto different stocks and things like that with different angles or with great differences in depth. This one here is really made to go straight onto any chassis. You can see it here. I conveniently have in here this rifle I was doing a review on, which is the Stealth, the Savage Stealth. And I've done a lot. I didn't shoot it like this because I was just doing a review on the rifle, but I just set it up to show what it actually looks like. You can see on here, it's on the rifle. It actually mounts that up there. I'll show you from the front so you get more of a perspective, but there it is from the front where this bush bolts simply to the bottom of your chassis. It actually goes on the front, so it goes on around the actual barrel, and then it accepts the clamps, which accept the legs. Keep in mind, for those who don't know, these are Atlas legs. We get off the Atlas bipods. These are actually the long legs, and yes, we buy complete bipods. So if you want to do this, you're having to get a complete Atlas bipod. And then dismantle it, so you end up using this system here. Of course, you are just dismantling it. You can put it back together and you can essentially have your Atlas bipod to use on those rifles, swap the legs over, and you've got this bipod to use here. Lots of good features about it. I've done other videos on how nice they are, how stable they are, the low center of gravity, which means they really grip the rifle nicely, and yet they're still quite functional to actually set up. When you're actually actioning your bolt, moving around, you really don't find the things moving from position just with your set tension. The legs fold away really nicely, so you can fold your legs up, it all tucks away and you get very open and clear down the bottom here. And obviously also in this situation, you're actually able to extend it, give yourself a further forward bipod position for more stability over your chassis. But listen, that's what it's designed for. I will put some measurements on as to what's going to fit. It's going to fit most half chassis or even full chassis. There is obviously you need to end up with reasonable clearance. They're not all going to be dead central in the way of elevation side of things. Not that being a little bit high or a little bit low isn't going to affect how they operate at all. You're just going to make sure that the thickness of your barrel and the distance to where the bottom of your chassis is makes that all work. I'll put some measurements on over the next couple of days. I'll do up some proper drawings so you can work all that out, but it becomes a very simple, very strong, and in my assessment at least, a real enhancement to most chassis, and it will go on most. So well, listen, anyway, that's for those who are familiar with our bipod system, may have been waiting for a product like that, or first time you've seen it. That's how it works. I'll now go through a little bit, just an overview of the system, so you get a little bit more of an idea of, for those who haven't seen the system before. Start off with, I'll put this one out of the road. This is where it started. This is a XLR chassis. It's a Hauer 243. They have the round barrel guard on the front of them, and that's where this system started. I wanted something that gave us this low center of gravity, so they balance really nicely, still all functional how the way it operates and twists. You run long legs. I have the long leg plus a little extension I made for the bottom, so let's run a long leg, which gives you a lot of ability for height, but it also, and let me put that all away, it also lets it come down quite low. You take that extension out and you can see how really low you can get. Plus you get a really nice tuck away feature. I like the look of it, but it's also the fact that it gets it right out of the road for shooting on other implements, on bags or any of that sort of stuff. It tucks the legs right out of the road, makes them really nice. And like I said, the really strong feature I found in Not so much designed, more a happy circumstance of the design is that you really do these up to a tension where they still will twist. You can make them twist and set them up quite easily to get everything level, to get your camp right, or your bubble level all nice and flat. And then I've found in all the stuff I've used them, you're not messing with them. Most bipods, you sort of fire a few or shoot it through, and you're tweaking it, pushing it back. These I found, once you got your tension right, you can move them and they're not moving when you're shooting. So really, really nice feature about them, which I found with them. But anyway, that's where the system started, and it was originally designed where we have a ring like this, which we sell these are the component B, and then you machine down the insides of these or the outside of this so you can push the two things together and just put a bush, not unlike, I'll go to the next feature so you can see what I'm talking about there. This is one without the bipod on. This is my 6.5 Creedmoor, another Hauer rifle, and this has the MDT ESS chassis. And you can see what I've done here. I've machined it down. This one needed more machining because it's a 8-sided barrel guard versus the XLR, which is round, which is a lot easier, but still machined it down, machined the two, and put the bush on the front. So there's the bush, and then you simply take your two shells, clamp that on around there, and that's what your legs bolt to. So nice and simple, machined and fitted up like that. So that's where the idea started. To do that, you needed a full barrel guard, and you needed of a moderate size, a pretty average size, but you needed a full barrel guard. So the next thing I ran into, which I'll bring up another one. Next way I went around the problem, this is another MDT chassis. This is a 6.5 Storm, and this is the Gen 2 of the LSS chassis. And what I did with this one here, they offset things a little bit for what they're up to, and I actually made this, which you can buy these as well. These are specific for the LSS chassis, where they actually bolt to the side here. So it gives you a top cover to your barrel guard with that bush on the front. Once again, bipod bolts on the front of it, but with that bush on the front. But that was a way around it, which was very specific to a couple of LSS chassis that I had in the Gen 2 configuration, but that's what I did there. So that left us another problem. Let me put another rifle down. And that problem there was all what I had realized before I'd released my product at all, and that was to go on to rifle stocks and all sorts of other things where you don't have a barrel guard at all to be able to strap to, or can you strap a barrel guard to that. What I came up was our component C. Listen, a bit of an awkward component to construct, two separate components. It actually swivels in here in the middle, as you'll see. It has the bolt-on section which will bolt to whether you want to put quick releases on it or bolt it straight to it, where a Picatinny rail goes on the bottom of a stock, on the bottom of a chassis. Doesn't really matter. And you'll see by the nature that this is adjustable, this piece here, it can go that way around for that deep with an angle on your stock to allow for your stock, so you get this parallel to your barrel, to that shallow in that configuration, or you can pull this bottom section out, turn it over, and end up with a very close, once again being able to allow different angles to go with rifle stocks and normal composite stocks and things that have that sort of angle on it, but also allow for different size chassis on that side of it. So that was component C. This component, there's a couple of negatives with the component. It works great for where you need to use it, and it has done a really good job, and there's a fair few that people have got around the world and had great success with them. There is, for people who run a lot of preload and push really hard, this is just the locking up clamp. Now still, that is all high grade steel that clamps up really tight and you get it nice and tight. But for people who are pushing past that point and really highly loading everything, it is possible to go through and modify this and put in a lock pin, so a couple of grub screws in here which cause it to lock in a particular place for people who are really loading heavily. To be truthful, if you're loading that heavily, I'd probably be thinking that you're going a little bit far in the load side of things on what you should be on the bipod. But listen, yeah, that's time will tell. Largely these have been very successful and very flexible in what they work. The other negative, that's the first negative, is that there is the chance of that being able to move if you push hard enough. The other negative is simply cost. There's two quite complex systems to get machined for a small manufacturer like ourselves. So it means that then it is two items. What I've done in thinking about that, trying to simplify things, this was an earlier design to sort of get around some stuff, but the problem with this design is it's not flexible enough to allow for all your stocks and things, because it's one set angle, it's dead flat, and you can obviously only have one real depth. Short of having it too much and then spacing it for every rifle, it meant that it wasn't going to work as well. So the flexibility one worked well for that. But with a lot of half chassis and a lot of rifle going to half chassis, and I shouldn't say half chassis that have half a barrel guard, so they only have the lower half of the barrel guard. With that feature coming into being fairly popular, and some very good chassis being made that way, that meant that having something that could bolt to half a chassis, bolt on the bottom, it's nice and flat, the chassis are flat, they follow your barrel, so that bolts on nicely. Simple bolt on, I haven't got complex here, I've got a couple of holes spaced out at 60 millimeters, so most M-lock and most Picatinny rail mounting points and that sort of stuff will have metric ones, and then some slots so you can get some varying bolts in there to be able to bolt them up. But that's the concept to be able to go onto that. So guys who are looking for in both things, and I'll bring this chassis back up here so we can talk about it some more. This is an MDT, but really it's the half barrel guard that I've used this as a demonstration for. In guys that want to have that further reach, so for precision shooting, when you want to get further out the front, I've got this one mounted to where it's about as close as it can get. You really could get another 1.5 to 2 inches out the front on this same system, and it's still going to work out the front to going further. Although there's a mechanical advantage to going further forward because you have more stability over the wheelbase essentially of your rifle, there's a negative to the fact you can't get to the front when you want to change height. You want to change it, lift it up and down, change your leg heights and that sort of stuff, which happens as you're getting on the target and that sort of stuff. That all, get down there. That all becomes more awkward when it's a long way away. So I think there's a happy medium. And probably here we're in a pretty good spot on that side of things. But for guys who want to extend their chassis, you certainly got the option. For guys who want to shorten them, okay, you certainly can trim. This will mount under here. It doesn't use the front of it sort of stuff. But the average chassis, that's going to bolt onto really neatly on that side of things. And while we've got that chassis there, we have another one, which is another MDT, so excuse all the MDT chassis, but this is their ACC, I should say, and you'll notice, even though that's a heavier chassis, which has the Arca rail on the bottom of it, you'll notice that that will still function. It's a little offset, as you can see, so it's a little lower on that one there, still going to function the same, and that's going to bolt on exactly the same on the front. But as said, just make sure that your thickness of your barrel and the space of things are going to work in that combination. And listen, you could do some modifying, I suppose, and get past that point, but really, for the majority, this is going to work. That's the update of it. I think that component's going to suit a lot of people. We'll keep looking at it and refining and making sense of things down the track. But I think for the average barrel guard chassis, half barrel guard, a full barrel guard chassis, even the ones where you've seen where I've machined it off and put the component B on, which you can do, still involves some machining, still involves fitting that component up. This component here will go on all those same chassis, and this is a bolt up. This bolts on and unbolts, just like putting a Picatinny rail on. You can put this on. Like I said, you could be mounting a swing swivel start on the bottom here. You could mount a Picatinny rail on the bottom there. You can have it very flexible, having that thing on the front there. It is steel. I haven't weighed it. I will put that weight on the site where you can purchase them, but it's not massively heavy and not a terrible place to have a little bit of weight in your rifle. Anyway, that's our latest update for that product. Thanks for checking in on us. We'll catch you next time.
Hi guys, Sam here. For folks that are interested in our products that you will have seen in our videos, these are all products that Mark has designed through our experience in ELR shooting. We manufacture them here ourselves. The likes of our adjustable bag bases, bag riders, bipod systems, muzzle brakes, shot data recording sets, and even our great fun little 22 long rifle target. These are all available in our web store, the links to which are below this video, along with our contact information. And guys, we work hard at putting these videos together, so we appreciate all the help we can get. For those of you who haven't subscribed, don't forget and hit the bell so you get notifications of when our videos come out. It would be awesome to get some financial support. So for those of you who can, You can purchase support bits on our web store, which help us bring these videos to you. Thanks for watching. See you next time.